Mark Kern, aka Grummz, predicts that the ongoing bloodbath in the video game industry will continue after Square Enix announced that their profits declined nearly 70% and that they will be ditching exclusivity in favor of a multi-platform strategy. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Roll this up over at thatparkplace.com. And let's get into what Square Enix had to say today. They had a results briefing session for the fiscal year ending March 31, 2024. The company reported that its net sales actually increased from 343.2 billion yen, or around $2.2 billion, to 356.3 billion yen, or around $2.3 billion. However, despite the increase in net sales, the company's profitability shrunk from 49.2 billion Japanese yen to 14.2 billion yen. This is a decline from around 315 million to 90.9 million, or around 69%, nearly 70% decline in profitability right there. Given the disastrous decline in profits, the company announced a new medium-term business plan with a shift to a multi-platform strategy. The strategy details that the company will aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy that includes Nintendo platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Furthermore, the company detailed it plans to build an environment where customers can enjoy our titles in regards to major franchises and AAA titles, including catalog titles. Square Enix also added it hopes to, quote, devise a platform strategy for SD titles, too, that includes not only iOS and Android, but also the possibility of PC launches. The company wants to, quote, maximize acquisition of new users when launching a title and that of recurring users after starting management of game operation. I'm wondering if that means that they'll have some kind of login or something like that that is hyper specific to Square. I know they had that for some of their mobile games that I was playing that they no longer have. Opera Omnia specifically had something like that where you had the you could sign into the Square thing and get like rewards or whatever. They probably should just have that be the main way to connect. So that's basically the big news from Square Enix. Massive decline in profitability and moving to a multi-platform strategy. So after that news that broke early this morning, Kern shared his prediction in a post on X. He wrote, more bloodbath at Microsoft as they face the music on over 80 billion in acquisitions and 40 studios that failed to grow Game Pass. So he expects that the bloodbath will continue, specifically at Microsoft, as the acquisitions come home to roost, specifically, obviously, Activision, Blizzard being one of the biggest. And then you have Bethesda. We're already seeing Bethesda was subject to significant shutterings just last week, where we saw Arcane Austin get shut down, as well as, what was it, Tango? I'm going to blank on it. It looks like Tango something, which is the company behind Hyper, whatever it was called. They had their Hyper game. I got a screenshot in here. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. Let's see here. Here it is. Hi-Fi Rush, not Hyper. Hi-Fi Rush, excuse me. Sorry about that. So we're already seeing that happening. So he predicts more of that is going to happen. He also says that expect Xbox executives to retire and get rotated out as the disaster snowballs. Heads will roll. I think that's probably accurate as well. Usually when you have this kind of massive bloodbath, people at the top will also have to get shown the door. It won't just be the people on the ground level. He then detailed that everybody going multi-platform, he predicted this, everybody's going to go multi-platform as sales continue to soften. Microsoft will put their games on every platform faster and greater quantity and in greater quantity. I think Phil Spencer has kind of already commented about this. They're losing money on the console, and they're kind of shifting away, prioritizing any kind of console exclusivity and trying to get their games on other platforms and trying to prioritize their Game Pass and the subscription model. It says nothing will be sacred to earn back those dollars. He also says there will be increased microtransactions, especially for Game Pass, Origin, and other such subscription services. EA has already talked about ads, and they will be turning over every rock looking for money, and the squeeze will be hard. I would not be surprised if you start seeing kind of in-game ads, ad placement, things like that. And then obviously there'll probably be some like load screen ads and things like that. So while the game is loading or downloading or whatever it happens to be, you're about to like go into the game and it's loading, you get like some kind of ad or whatever, however long that takes. I would not be surprised if that is something that they do. I know they've been talking about that, I feel like, for quite a while. Mark Kern then declared it's going to get a lot uglier in AAA and console games before it gets better. Remember, 2 years to stop the spread and get gamer voices heard. Play your Steam libraries and older games. Vote with your wallet. And then he encouraged people to cancel your PlayStation Network Plus to fight Sony PlayStation Network requirements and to help Stellar Blade. They are vulnerable now. So that is what Kern's predictions were following Square Enix announcing nearly 70% decline in profitability year over year, and a changing their model to multi-platform rather than having big titles like Final Fantasy VII exclusive to PlayStation. So just to kind of give you a brief reminder about what he's talking about here about the 2 years to stop the spread. He called for a moratorium on the purchase of AAA video game titles after developer Crystal Dynamics teamed up with tabletop role-playing game maker Evil Hat Productions to redefine the Tomb Raider franchise along with its iconic heroine Lara Croft in a kind of woke ideology. So Evil Hat Productions and Crystal Dynamics are trying to wokeify Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider franchise. And Grummz said this. He said, calling on all gamers to not buy any AAA titles for the next 2 years that do this. Play your Steam backlog. You will send a very clear message. Lara Croft did nothing wrong and does not need fixing. So that is what he's talking about here when he says 2 years to stop the spread. He's talking about getting DEI and woke ideology out of these AAA video game development companies. And he called for a 2-year moratorium on the purchase of any AAA title by gamers in order to excise that woke mind virus, as Elon Musk likes to say. He's also called for gamers to cancel their PlayStation Network accounts in response to Sony censoring Shift Up Corporation's Stellar Blade, which included numerous outfits as well as the game's gore and blood spray and things like that. He posted an 8-step plan to free Stellar Blade towards the end of April. One of the steps was to cancel your PlayStation Network and tag PlayStation to let them know on social media that you canceled due to Stellar Blade censorship. So that just kind of gives you a brief update on what he's talking about there at the end of his predictions. As far as the bloodbath continuing, I think that's that's not hard to predict that, right? Not to like discount Grummz' prediction there, because I think is a pretty accurate prediction. But we've seen the bloodbath kind of continue, and it kind of ramped up here just these last couple of months here in 2024. At the end of February, Sony announced huge layoffs affecting Insomniac Games, Naughty Dog, Gorilla, and Firesprite. The president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, announced layoffs in a blog post. He said, "We have made the extremely hard decision to announce our plan to commence a reduction of our overall headcount globally by about 8% or about 900 people, subject to local law and consultation processes. Employees across the globe, including our studios, are impacted." He explained, "The industry has changed immensely, and we need to future ready ourselves to set the business up for what lies ahead. We need to deliver on expectations from developers and gamers and continue to propel future technology in gaming. So we took a step back to ensure we are set up to continue bringing the best gaming experiences to the community." Not only did we see Sony earlier this year, but we saw Microsoft doing it just, like I said, I want to say it was early this month here in May, maybe just last week. Tango Gameworks, that is the Hi-Fi Rush developer that I was having trouble remembering. But Microsoft, parent company of Xbox, shut down multiple studios just this, like I said, earlier this month, including Arcane Austin after their disastrous Redfall. That was the company behind Dishonored franchise. Tango Gameworks, which just, again, had the breakout hit of Hi-Fi Rush, Alpha Dog Games, which was a mobile development company, and then Roundhouse Studios, which they have absorbed into ZeniMax, which creates Elder Scrolls Online. Xbox's Matt Booty explained the closures and layoffs in an email that was obtained by IGN. Booty said this: "These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds which you have nurtured over many decades. To double down on these franchises and invest to build new ones requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. This reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others, that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. And then we also saw, we'll just skip down here. That's just more Booty kind of explaining the layoffs. But we also saw Embracer Group shutting down and selling numerous studios, including Gearbox, which they sold to Take-Two, Saber, which was sold to kind of like a independent holding company, and they shut down Volition after the Saints Row debacle. The company has more recently announced it plans to split itself into 3 separate entities: Asmodee, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. The company's co-founder and current CEO Lars Winklevoss said this move has been made with the intention to unleash the full potential of each team and provide them with their own leadership and strategic direction. This is the start of a new chapter, a chapter that I intend to remain part of as an active, committed, and supportive shareholder of all 3 new entities with an evergreen horizon. This move towards 3 independent companies reinforces Embracer's vision of backing entrepreneurs and creators with a long-term mindset, allowing them to continue to deliver unforgettable experiences for gamers and fans across the globe. So it looks like he's actually, I mean, based on what he's saying here, he might not be involved in any kind of executive position rather than maybe as just a shareholder. Is kind of what he's saying. So that kind of goes to what Grummz was saying about Microsoft, and that top executives might be on the chopping block. So I think I think Grummz's predictions are accurate. I don't think this stuff is going to stop anytime soon. We're still seeing bleeding from disastrous woke policies. You can look at Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, confirmed over $200 million loss on that game by Warner Brothers. We just saw Tales of Kenzera Zhao, which is published by EA. Clearly, that game is died on the vine after being heavily influenced by Sweet Baby Inc. And in fact, the creator, the main developer of that game, had created a company with the Sweet Baby Inc. people called Sucre Bébé, which is literally Sweet Baby in French. So saw that fail as well. So not a lot of wins for a lot of these AAA studios. We'll see what's going on with Ubisoft. We saw Alan Wake 2 still has not been become profitable yet. Remedy announcing, continuing to confirm that in their latest report as well. So the woke infestation is not making these companies any money. I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 has not done as well as the first one. I think it's only done, last we saw reported was it's only done 10 million, and I think the original Spider-Man did over 20. So 50% decline there. Just absolutely terrible on that as well. So this stuff is not doing well. A lot of these developers are paying the consequences. People are losing their jobs. And if they continue to embrace this stuff, I think it's going to continue. And the bloodbath, it will not relent. It will go on because no one likes this stuff. No one wants it. It's not, you can't make money doing it. And the market is actively rejecting it, despite it being forced by these companies and a lot of their investors. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with Kern's predictions like I do, that the bloodbath will continue? We will see heads rolling. We will see more microtransactions as they try and milk as much as they can from gamers. Or do you think maybe something else will happen? And if you do, let me know what you think, what your predictions are in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable to each other, but to always speak the truth.